The USFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 preview, picks, and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Wait, I'm fucking this up again. Wrong intro.
I can't talk to this son of a bitch.
Football is a unique American.
There we go. That sounds
a game described by
episodes.
one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
That's the most
This is America, Jack. You know how to play winning high-dose football? I don't get it.
Being played in the United States Football League.
Oh my God! Quarterback is toast.
We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a way to be more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL. America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television.
That is football.
I'm like, spring football is going to work in America.
You play to win the game. And now it is time for our USFL report.
There we are back on the USFL Gambling Podcast. It is time for our USFL report, and we have just an absolutely huge week. I would even argue that this is probably the best week of the rebirth of the USFL over the past 2 years, because every single game matters. We're going to talk about it all. Maybe you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Because I understand how the bastard thinks. I taught him. Now I own one.
Yes. I love the USFL. I love having it, and I am very, very excited. A, to host this show, but also B, to catch off 4 games, which are all on national TV.
Hell yeah.
Network TV. Not, you don't gotta go to the interwebs and try to find it. You're gonna have it right there. Man, all 4 games, playoff implications. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Up.
Let's fucking go. All right, we got the Tecmo Super Bowl music going. It just feels great. Tecmo Super Bowl brings you back to the 80s, just like the USFL, bringing you back to the 80s. And, I mean, you see it every time you tune in on Saturday and Sunday. They play a lot of those clips from the 80s. All right?
Beautiful thing.
We are also joined.
They know how to market.
They do know how to market. Shout out to Moose Johnson, right? And we are also joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself. And come play USFL DFS with us, because we're going to give away our lineup later. I'm going to beat the shit out of these guys. And give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, a free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's up, guys?
I mean, you see my shirt. You know what that means, right?
The Boz is out. There it is. that's the only thing missing from the USFL. If they had Brian Bosworth, they would have surpassed the NFL easily in the 80s. NFL would cease to exist if Brian Bosworth played in the USFL.
In an alternate universe, they kept it going in the spring, and then Bos went right into that.
Now,
folks,
we're still waiting on Shark Dog, who is Bos reborn, to come back. He's the modern day Bosworth, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. Shout out to Shark Dog, friend of the program, Scooby Wright, been on the show. And guys, here we are, week 9 upon us. We did not release our power rankings, NC Nick. We were waiting.
Is that my fault?
No, we were waiting for you. We were waiting.
Sound like
for
you were blaming me. Well, according to you, Nick, yours are the only ones that matter. So we got to include those.
Well, lately I'm not sure if that's the case. I started off pretty hot from a gambling perspective. Last couple of weeks have been a little rough, but we're going to turn the ship around. And I do think my power rankings this week are spot on, if I could say so myself.
Well, let's talk about this. I had the Birmingham Stallions ranked number 1, but I was taking the Philadelphia Stars to beat them, which almost happened. Kind of should have happened. They had them at 4th and 9 at their, at the 40 with 30 seconds left, and they somehow lose that game. Obviously Birmingham's still number 1 for us, right? Patty C?
Of course.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean they're the best record in the league. They're the team that's the clutchest. They're the team that you can trust the most. Of course, Birmingham is numero uno.
Now it gets interesting because Patty C's Memphis Showboats figured out how to win with still looking like shit on offense.
5 in a row.
Hottest team ever. Hottest team ever in a 2-year. Well, maybe, I don't know. Birmingham, I think, might have had a runner.
I think Colby is right to give Carnell Lake all the credit, and I do believe they're the leading draft Kings scoring team, DFS wise. So you could credit that to the defense. Carnell Lake, great job so far.
And the running game is going, and the guy White, 23 for 102 and a touchdown. That's just,
no.
The running game is going.
Hold on.
They can run the ball and play D. That's a recipe for success.
They got the ball back. And Pittsburgh. Hold on. Was it Pittsburgh they played last week?
Generals.
No, Generals. Yeah, Generals had timeouts. So if they got 1 first down. And they had been running like shit all game, and the one running back, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Yeah, White had like a 55-yard run, and he got in. He didn't score, which was smart. I mean, he got tackled, but it worked out in their favor because that would have opened up the chance for the Generals to score. But that big 50-yard run really fluffed up those stats, those rushing stats.
We actually looked it up, Nick. Yeah. Prior to that run, 45 rushes for 102 yards.
Well, I want to say White rushed for about 80 the week before. So yeah, I mean, look, you can go through a couple different guys. You can go through Mark Thompson last week and his long run to seal that game and give the Gamblers the lead. I think it was like a 40-yard run. Without that run, his stats don't look anywhere near as impressive. So,
well, sure,
you can pick and choose here. I mean, you break a long run, it counts just as much as getting stuffed a few times.
I'm just saying, if you watch the game all day, that they were not successfully running the ball. They had one run with 30 seconds left that changed their stats.
What they were successful in doing was forcing another 3 turnovers, which they seem to be able to do that every week now.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm on board with Patty C. I'm now a believer. I know Colby's still hating. They are my second team, the Showboats, in the power rankings. They've won 5 in a row. What else do you need?
I'll tell you, you need an offense that moves the ball. They are
apparently not.
You know who the second best team is? We saw it last week. It's the Philadelphia Stars. All right. They had Birmingham beat and they let them off the hook. You want to crown them? You crown them, Nick. All right. You crown Birmingham number 1, but Philadelphia is the second best team in this league. That is my number 2 team in the power rankings. Patty C, is Memphis still your number 2 team in the power rankings?
I don't know that they are. I mean, it's really close. I think because of their defense being so impressive,
I thought we were showboat buddies. Come on.
We are showboat buddies. That sounds a little weird, but I'm into it. No, Philadelphia, their offense though is more impressive, and I actually think come playoff time, if their defense gets its act together a little more, then they are, they have a great chance to at least appear in the Freedom Cup. B, they have a puncher's chance to win it.
Feel free to back my. So you're going Memphis still?
I am going Memphis
until they lose. I can't rank them any lower than second. But I agree. I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I thought the Stars were complete shit. All 3 of us were agreeing that they were the softest team in the league. And all of a sudden, if it wasn't for that almost like miracle comeback by Birmingham, they would have won 4 in a row. So they're definitely my third team in the power rankings. They're atop the North. They're looking good. I mean, the defense last couple of weeks, I think they gave up 31 and 27. Not great, but the offense is playing better.
Well, and their defense is starting to create more turnovers. Last year they went to the Freedom Cup. They were giving up yardage, but they were creating turnovers, and that's really what's been the thing over the past 4 or 5 weeks. Look, before I get to Patty C's third team and my third team, I want to tell you that the USFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, this episode is supported by Edge Boost, and Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Look, Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down on some of your favorite futures without, tying up your bankroll for months. Double down on a favorite bet you like, or even, maybe you want to middle or hedge something. Disgusting, but people do it. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark. All right, they charge 0 interest. So you don't got to worry about your kneecaps getting busted, and you keep falling down this hole. No, 0 interest, and I think it's just one of the safest ways to. That's why gambling it's a lot safer now. Let's put it like that. And Edge Boost can be part of a responsible gambling plan. As you can set up daily, weekly, monthly limits across all your betting accounts in one place. Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the USFL Gambling Podcast. Patty C, so I put the Philadelphia Stars at number 2. At number 3, I'm taking the New Orleans Breakers.
Oh, come on. Come on. He's still. Is this shtick now, or are you real?
No. I mean, did you see what McLeod Bethel Thompson put up last week? He broke a USFL record
for over 300 again. But
no, that was the most ever in the league. So you're telling me I believe that will pay off. I think they're a more complete football team. Yes, is Memphis's defense way better? Sure, than New Orleans, but New Orleans' offense is way better. New Orleans is Memphis thrown for 300 yards all year? No.
I mean, it's not their game. So I mean, I thought you were the guy that loved strong defense. Does Iowa, in college football, throw for 300 a game?
Yeah, I mean, no, they don't. But I'm saying my point is that I think New Orleans defense. I think they're a more complete team, and I think they'll beat the Memphis Showboats this weekend. So
here's my one concern about the Breakers is that the running game is not the same.
Yeah,
I mean, Hills ran 23 carries for 36 yards only. It's back-to-back weeks where the running game has really stalled out. So that's why they had to air it out.
That's Showboat numbers right there. Patty C.
I don't see New Orleans batting down 75 passes a game defensively, though. They do, you're right, have the top passing quarterback and the top rushing running back, obviously, in the league by a considerable margin. McLeod Bethel Thompson is over 400 yards more than, or about 400 yards more than the next guy, Case Cookus, and Wes Hill's about 100 yards more than Mark Thompson rushing overall in the season. So those are good stats to have on your side. The point differentials in their favor, as opposed to Philly, your number 2 team, who still has a negative 31 point differential on the year. So I don't hate it. And in fact, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys.
Who's your third best team?
Houston.
Hold on.
As my
hold on. So you haven't played the Stars yet?
I haven't played the Stars yet.
Houston.
Wow. Okay. So I was giving Colby shit for having the Breakers third. I had the Breakers 4th, so not that far off. I just think Colby is just completely hating on Memphis now.
Well, I have Memphis 4th, so I think New Orleans is going to beat Memphis this week, and you'll see that with our picks later. And I think they're the better team, so I can't sit here and say Memphis should be ahead of New Orleans if I'm going to take New Orleans to beat Memphis, and I think New Orleans is better.
Yeah.
So I have Memphis at 4.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have New Orleans at 3, just because I think you're right. Bahar is an issue, even though Mark Thompson is so spectacular. I think you're right. I think I'm going to switch that. I'm going to put New Orleans at 3, and then obviously we'll go from there.
Well, no, we're on 4. So what do you have at 4?
Well, then I have Houston
Stars
4 because I think they're better than the Stars.
5.
I have the whole South better than the whole North.
Okay.
And based on the fact that the South won every game this past weekend, and 4-0 for the South, 0-4 for the North. And look, every team in the South has a better record than any team in the North. So I stand by that.
There you go. We got a modern day Robert E. Lee here, right? I'm joking. He's going with us out, fucking with you. NC Nick. So wait, your 4th team is the Breakers. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it gets interesting because my 5th team is the Houston Gamblers.
Same here. And I was the one singing Houston's praises last week, saying that they were that fluke long touchdown pass against them where they lost the game. And which, it's still the case. They would have won 6 in a row now, but for the eye test, it's really for them. It's the eye test. The eye test the last couple of weeks has not been there. They won last week.
Blew it.
Yeah. It was right there. They should have lost again. They got lucky. I think they put up 14 points in the 4th quarter to win that game against the Maulers.
Yeah.
I guess you tip your hat and say congrats on winning this many games, but the eye test tells me another story. So it may be coming to bite them because Bahar is struggling. Thompson isn't finding quite as many holes as he was earlier in the year. So I have my question marks about the Gamblers now. That's why they're my 5th.
Oh, shout out to Terrell Furman in the chat. It says, "What's up, nerds? Missed the quad box." Shout out to him. Check out the NBA Gambling Podcast as the finals are going on. Patty C, who's your 5th team?
Well, I'm going to go Stars, and I have it's really close though, because who has more upside is still a question mark. Really, I think the South is anyone's game. I know we said Birmingham is, to me, an inch ahead of the other ones, or an inch or two, but not that far. But they are decisively ahead, whereas the other 3 are almost interchangeable. And then Philly has a lot of potential with that offense. I think if they get the defense together, then they have the makeup of a championship team based on where the offense has been. But the defense isn't there yet, and it's a step behind. And even though Mark Thompson is getting bottled up a little more, he's still finding the end zone. 13 touchdowns.
He's a baller. He's still a baller
for sure.
You can't really,
sure. Nobody's doubting that.
Yeah.
So I got Stars at number 5.
Stars at number 5. So I got Stars at 2. He's got him at 5. Welcome to the USFL in 2023. This season's been wild. All right, at number 6.
This is a drop off, obviously. This is the rest of the North. I guess if you want to look at standings, the team with one more win is the Panthers. They were impressive a couple weeks ago. They almost beat the Breakers this past week. So my 6th team is the Panthers. I just think they're a hair better than the Generals and Maulers.
Nope. We had a conversation in the office. Me stacking the money and Kramer, and we're saying, the Maulers could win it all. If they get in, they have a good enough defense to mess with the teams that are in there. So the Maulers should have beaten Houston last week. Blew it. Now that's a concern. And also Ray Horton never going for 4th and inches, always a concern, right?
It's not 1985. Come on.
And Nick, I want your take on this again. And look, I like Ray Horton, right? I want your take on this again, because there's a conspiracy. Something's going on here. Even last year, when Kirby Wilson was the head coach, I thought, man, Madre London's by far their best running back.
Talk to Patty C.
Dude,
I'm with you.
But look at last week. Last week, 8 for 41, over 5 yards a carry, right? and he only gets 8 carries. Meanwhile, Groshek 11 for 22. He keeps handing off to these white running backs that suck ass.
Is Garrett Groshek like Daryl Johnson's son-in-law or something? I mean, there has to be some kind of nepotism or something here going on, because I told you in the preseason last year, before we saw the USFL play any games, that Groshek was a stiff. He was a stiff in college.
No,
some reason I don't know, man. Ask Patty.
They're trying to recreate the Pittsburgh Steelers of 1990. They want Merrill Hodge,
but they have Barry Foster. Madre London's Barry Foster.
Years. I get Madre London is not Barry Foster, but he might be if they.
Dude, he's good. He's good.
Groshek's no Merrill Hodge either. So
they're a poor man's 1990s Pittsburgh Steelers.
And what's the other white fullback that gets carries too? Like Ray Horton's just
Stocky or whatever.
He's just like I'm gonna have it my way. I'm giving it to these white running backs. And meanwhile, then every once in a while, Madre London will get a carry, and it's like a 12-yard run. And you're like, hey, that guy's good. He pops off screen. Then it's like, no, let's go back to these slow white fucking running backs. It drives me crazy.
As bad as that is, I mean, which is awful. Like not going for on 4th and 1, I think is even worse. Like
not even 4th and 1, it's 4th and inches.
Yeah, I think if you talk to any kind of analytical person, it behooves you to be aggressive on offense. And he is just stuck in the past like it's 1985. I mean, you guys remember how conservative NFL football was in like the late 80s, early 90s?
It's like, dude, you're stuck 35-yard line, punt it.
Right.
Yeah. No, he'll be on the opposing team's 35. Or no, like 45, because he'll try a field goal at the 35. But at the 45, he'll be like, oh, it's 4th and inches. Yeah, we should punt this one. And it's like, dude.
It's a USFL. Go all out. Balls to the wall. Be aggressive.
You're not even in Pittsburgh. The media is not going to give you a hard time. You're in Canton. That's where your hub is. Now, it's very confusing because it just not only do they do that, then they first off, the Maulers offense only gets to that field position like once every 10 possessions. So, but when they finally get it there, you can't punt, right? Or you end up going to kick a field goal. Blewett had like 10 field goals in that game, but he missed the most important one. And even with that, the play the second to last play of the game before the field goal, they get a holding penalty. So it goes back further. It's like, come on. Anyway, I got the Maulers. I'm putting the Maulers at my number, 6 spot, because I do think they're capable of beating anyone in the league. I don't know that about the opposing two teams. So I have the Maulers at 6. Patty C, who do you got at 6?
I think any team can beat any team. Maybe Pittsburgh and New Jersey would have a hard time with Birmingham. But aside from that, as we clearly saw, you just mentioned Pittsburgh almost probably should have beaten Houston, and Houston's right there with every other team that's 5-3. So I would agree that Michigan is probably a little bit ahead of the others just based on the fact they've won and they don't do stupid things. The caveat being Dakota Prukop had an excellent game. He looked like a poor man's Alex Mago.
I have said that all year. I have said, why was he not in the game? I'm like, I watched last week. Now he had a very bad interception that he threw in the opposing teams like 25 or maybe even in the red zone. That besides that one play, he looked like a poor man's Alex Mago to me. Like I'm sitting there like he is a beast. He can run better than most running quarterbacks in this league, and he's a better passer than Loletta. In my opinion, Mike Riley, and I'm a Mike Riley guy, but he's completely fucked this season for the Generals. If he starts Prokop, I think the Generals can they still started Loletta last week. If they start Prokop this week, I think they win. And I think they could be a very dangerous team in the playoffs too, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, we have every week we thought, oh, DeAndre Johnson's starting to come on. Then Loletta starts. And
he did the same shit last year. Luckily for him, it didn't bite him last year. He still made the playoffs. Now they lost to the Stars in the first round, but this year it is biting him. This quarterback platoon playing multiple quarterbacks, they just can't find any kind of rhythm. So it'll be interesting what happens this week. He better start Dakota Prukop. and he better give him a long leash, let him play the whole game.
Well, look, I have to put the Generals at 8 because I last week he still started Lauletta.
Yep.
So until I know that that's their guy, I cannot put them at 7. I put Michigan at 7, New Jersey at 8. Patty C, what's your 7 and 8?
I'll go Michigan 7. I'm going that Jersey and Pitt both suck, but I guess I'll go Pitt just because they're not shooting themselves in the foot. But again, if Prukop is their guy and he continues like it was, then they're very live for the Northern championship. You know, they could win the North pretty easily if he's playing the way he was. But right now, if they're going back to Lauletta, then they're dead last. So I'll put Pittsburgh ahead of them.
Well, they've lost 5 games in a row, so I don't think there's any question about it. New Jersey's dead last.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to find out a lot this weekend. If Prukop comes back, and then I know I'm jumping ahead to a preview, but DJ Daniel, who's leading tied for the league lead in interceptions, and to me jumps off the screen as, you know, probably maybe the best defensive back in the league against the leading pass receiver in the league in Corey Coleman, who was the 15th pick in the draft a few years back. That's an elite matchup that really is kind of going to, I think, have a huge outcome on that game. So we shall see, you know, who's looking good after this week.
Amen.
In the
All
North.
right, well, look, those are our power rankings, folks. Want to tell you that the USFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Best Ball Mania is here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes. Plus, they got plenty of ways to win with the NBA, NHL, MLB, all with their player prop parlays. You should check them out. They also have some USFL stuff over there. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right, guys, let's get to it. It's the picks part of this show. And well, no, let me explain this to the good fans out there. We got some playoff scenarios before we get to the picks. So if the Stars win, they're in, right? Stars win, they're in. They're taking on the Generals, a rematch of last year's, Northern playoff matchup.
It's also a rematch of week 5, where our guy Aguilar kicked 8 field goals and won.
Legend. So here's the other thing. The Panthers clinch with the win against the Maulers and a Stars win. All right. And a Stars win. And if the Stallions win, they clinch. Stallions are playing the Gamblers, but check this out. If the Gamblers win, they would then have the tiebreaker on the Stallions.
Ooh.
So
which would make the Stallions last game a must win, even if they've finished tied for the lead.
Yes. So unless the Gamblers were to have lost in the final week too, though. So it makes it, it's all chaotic.
It's fantastic that all 8 teams are still alive for the playoffs with the second to last week of the regular season.
Yeah. I mean,
this is exciting.
And to add on to that they're all on national TV, it just sets up perfect for a great weekend of football.
If I remember correctly, the week 10 last year, a lot of it was completely meaningless, right?
Yes. Yeah. There was like 2 or 3 games where it was like, nope, this means nothing, so this year, a lot better in that regard. All right. Well, look, Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, the Michigan Panthers in Canton, Ohio are taking on the Pittsburgh Maulers. The Panthers are laying 1.5. The over under set at 41. I told you my power rankings speak for my picks. I think the Maulers beat the Panthers here. They limit Reggie Corbin on the ground, which I think is kind of the oil that makes the engine run. And then Josh Love makes, he kind of has a turnover problem. So I know the Maulers offense is complete ass. I know they try these field goals every time, they never go for fourth. Like, that's the scary part. They've lost a couple games because they elected to kick field goals. Like, they were dominating the game, but they're just like, let's just take take another field goal. And then in the fourth quarter, another, the opposing team will score 2 touchdowns. And it's like, you were just dominating the game and now you're losing. I'm taking the Maulers though. I think the Maulers know if they win this, they can get into the playoffs. And well, obviously Michigan knows that too.
It's true for pretty much everybody.
Yeah. Well, no, Michigan can actually still lose this and make the playoffs next week. The Maulers, I think, know this is it.
More of a must win. Sure.
Do or die time. Yeah.
And so I got the Maulers plus 1.5. I just think you played on the money line. And then
this would mathematically eliminate the Maulers if they lose this game.
I don't think
no,
officially,
it would.
right?
No, because then the Stars and Panthers would both have 4 wins, and the Maulers would only have 2 with one.
Yep.
Only
You're
one
right.
week left.
You're right. You're right. So this is a must-win spot for the Maulers. And might as well just play the plus. What is it? 105, I think it is. Let's go.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're on it.
We had a little cut out there. You guys still there?
Yeah, we're here.
I hear you, buddy. So plus 105 on the Maulers.
Sorry, I'm cutting out. Are you guys cutting out at all? No.
Nope, we're good.
No,
we're good. Let's keep
fine,
going,
buddy. Yeah. Plus 105 on the Maulers. Over under 41. Look, only one game all year out of 8 games with the Maulers has gone over. I refuse to take the over on a Michigan Panthers Pittsburgh Maulers. And maybe if it was like Birmingham or something, even in the one game that went over, there was like 2 kick returns or 1 kick return and a pick 6. So give me the under on 41. You could probably just lock that thing up right now. NC Nick, what are you doing here in Canton?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to agree with you. So the Maulers won this game 23-7 in week 5. They limited the Panthers to only 18 yards on the ground, and they forced 4 turnovers. I guess my pause here is that I don't think they're going to force another 4 turnovers. I mean, that's why they won that game easily. And also the Maulers are dead last in passing. And I think the recipe to beat the Maulers now is to limit Troy Williams on the ground.
Yeah.
Because he's really, if he's not running the ball himself, the ground game is going to stall out. And then no.
If he's not, moving for positive yards on the ground, and we know Madre Lunde can, but they won't rush. They won't give him the ball. Right. So you don't want to have to. They don't want to have to rely on the passing game.
With all that said, even though I had the Panthers a notch above the Maulers, I'm gonna take the points here, even though it's only 1.5. Or I got it earlier in the week plus 2. I don't know, man. There's not much difference between these two teams. I think maybe what you said, maybe that matters. Where this is the last hurrah for Pittsburgh. It's either win or go home, and your season's over. So maybe that little bit will give them the edge here. Give me Pittsburgh, and definitely the under as well.
Yeah. The under's like the safest bet you can do this week. Patty C, what are you doing here?
You can get a little confused looking at the stats and seeing that Carson Strong, had only had 76 passing yards the week before. They played Pittsburgh the first time and only 94 yards against Pittsburgh. But Love was also playing in those games. So their total passing numbers were probably pretty similar to what they've done since, which is above 200 every game for Love. But, that said, I think having the one quarterback is a good thing for them. But I think I agree with what you guys are saying. The back against the wall factor and already having the recipe to beat them by more than 2 scores. Look, you may think that, hey, it's hard to beat a team twice, or it's hard to, have it be as effective twice, but you lose by 16. I'm not betting on you the second time around.
Yeah.
Straight up. I'm taking the Maulers here.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, look, I'm curious what you guys think the best games are, because like to watch, because then we jump over to this game on Fox. So the Panthers Maulers game's on NBC. This one's on Fox.
To answer your question real quick, I think the better games are the ones with teams with winning records. So the 2 games in the South.
The New Orleans Breakers take it on the Memphis Showboats. This game's at a pick. The over-under's at 43.5. I told you this. If my power rankings told you this, I still believe the Showboats are phony. right? I still believe it. The Breakers have too much offensive firepower. They win this game. Don't throw a pick six and you win this game. If you throws a pick six, it's over, right? But give me the Breakers. They get it done. NC Nick, what are you doing in the Liberty Bowl?
You know, last year in college football, I thought TCU was phony, and I picked against them pretty much every week. And granted, they didn't cover every week, but they ended up basically winning every week. And I'm just the Breakers. They're not showing me what I need to see to take them over a team that has won as many games in a row as the Showboats. Go back to week 5 again. Showboats won 17-10. Hills average less than 3 yards per carry. That's becoming a pattern here that I worry about. And Bethel Thompson, he threw the ball 35 times in that game for only 206 yards. And the Breakers committed 3 turnovers in that game. And that's why you have a Showboat 17-10 win. Sure, not a pretty win. They don't win pretty. We've established that. But, you know, if you look at it, the Showboats have the best turnover margin in the league, +5. And the Breakers have turned the ball over the most times in the league, 14 turnovers in 8 games. That's not a recipe that I want to get on. So I'm going Showboats. Why not?
Oh, Patty C, he's jumping on your bandwagon. What are you doing here?
He's on that Showboat. Look, we're Showboat buddies.
Can we get a graphic of like me and Patty, like, you know, arms around each other with the Showboats up top?
I do like that. I do like that.
Like Schmidt's Gay. You guys remember that from Saturday Night Live?
Of course. Yeah.
That's kind of what the vibe we're going for here.
There's Eskimo brothers and there's Showboat buddies. I'm not sure exactly what a Showboat is yet, but you know, I've heard the motorboat, you know, but
yeah. Same thing.
So you're going, you're riding the Showboats or what?
This is really hard, and the matchup is really intriguing because McLeod Bethel Thompson is the league leading passing yardage, and Memphis relies so heavily on not only pressuring the quarterback but batting down passes and creating turnovers. Now, Bethel Thompson has thrown some interceptions lately, so I think that maybe we are in store for some of that. I also think that Wes Hills might find some tough sledding against the likes of John Atkins and that tough front 7 of Memphis. So I think it's going to be, I mean, this is yet another example of like gaudy stats, the league leading passer and the league leading rusher on one team, you know, against a team with not a lot of star power, you know, at least on the offensive side of the ball. So, but I think Memphis gets it done.
Wow.
Showboat buddies. Unite.
Showboat buddies. Showboat. But who needs Miami Vice when you get the Showboat buddies? Mississippi River football, Patty. So you didn't even talk about Mississippi River football. Remember our thing here that after next year when they actually are in their locations that they should take an actual Showboat to the game from New Orleans to Memphis.
Maybe that week we get on the Showboat. If they play on the last week of the season, we should take it. Or if they ever play in the playoffs, we should go take the Showboat.
We really should. I need to go on more Showboats in my life. Okay, then we jump over to Sunday. Sunday's action: the Birmingham Stallions taking on the Houston Gamblers in Memphis, Tennessee. Stallions are laying 3.5. The over/under's at 45.5. The hook last week. Remember the hook I thought was going to get me in what game was that? The Michigan game? No, they ended up losing by that 0.5 point. I'm still taking the points. I am still taking the points. I just feel like anything more than a field goal, the Stallions are good, but they're not like blowing teams out. So I think this is a game. The Gamblers beat them the first time, and the Gamblers didn't even have Bahar. I think that Bahar opens up some passing to them. So I'm going to take Mark Thompson, the Gamblers, plus the 3.5. I think Stallions still might win this game, but I'm getting more than a field goal. I'm signing up for it. I'm also on the over. And by the way, what are you guys doing on that over under at 43.5 with the previous game, the Breakers Showboats?
I leaned over. I'm not.
I went over
totally
too.
Confident about it. Just I mentioned the last game was 17-10, but I think that's why a lot of people are going to be on the under. I think there's going to be more points in this one.
I went over too, but I don't love it. I think that's actually the hardest total of the week.
I'm not betting that. I'm staying far away from that.
Yeah, Patty C, what do you make of that Showboats total?
I'm on the over too. I mean, the Showboats last 3 weeks, 22, 23, and 25 points. and New Orleans the last few weeks, 16, 20, and 24. So it's right there on the cusp, but I feel like they're both going to have enough offense to barely go over on that.
All right, so now we jump back to the Stallions Gamblers game. I'm taking the Gamblers and the points. I'm on the over. Nick, what are you doing here in at the Liberty Bowl with the Houston Gamblers?
I think you're getting too cute, buddy. I think you're getting way too cute. I love the fact that the Gamblers won 27-20 the first matchup. The Stallions are the best team in the league, and they're looking for motivation, and revenge is definitely motivation. And I mentioned the eye test the Gamblers have not been passing the last couple of weeks. Look, they may have won without Bahar. Right now, Bahar doesn't look that great anyway. So I'm definitely laying the points here. I'll lay the hook. I'm going to go under also. Houston isn't scoring. Houston's probably going to score, 20-21 here. And I think Birmingham is going to be about 24 or so. 24-20. It's a close one. Birmingham wins. They cover. That's what great teams do. Give me the Stallions and give me the over. I'm sorry. The under.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The under. Patty C, what are you doing here at the Liberty Bowl? You going with Stallions? You riding the Stallion like you normally do?
Let me tell you what, Nick, this isn't the 2022 Birmingham Stallions. Okay. They're not quite the same. If you look back, their last 5 games, 6 games, a loss to New Orleans, a 4-point win over lowly Pittsburgh, a loss to New Orleans. Granted, they beat Michigan by 2 touchdowns, but a 4-point win over New Orleans and then a 3-point win over Philly. They're squeaking by teams. They're doing it, but it's not by much. And meanwhile, like I said, I think Houston is 1 inch behind them, and 1 inch, if you calculate that, if you convert that to points, is probably less than 3.5. So I'm on Houston to cover, and I am on the under as well, Nick.
Ooh, going with the under. All right, and then something about this game I love. I know the other ones. I know NC Nick said, "Hey, the games he wants to see are the Breakers Showboats, the Gamblers, Stallions." But there's something about this game. I love the uniforms. I just love the whole
Northeast football.
Yeah, Northeast football is back. The Philadelphia Stars in Canton, Ohio, taking on the New Jersey General. Stars are laying 2.5. The over under is at 44. I'll open up with saying I'm on the over, and I want to take New Jersey really bad, but I just don't know. I have a feeling Loletta Cheese still might start, so I have to take the Stars on principle. Stars win, they're in. They get it done. Case Cookus and Bart Andrews with that sweet ass haircut. They're going back to the playoffs. Patty C, what are you doing here in Canton?
Not so fast, my friend. This is a rivalry and a great one at that.
You're not diving into the stink?
No, what is the spread on this one?
2.5.
It's on the screen, buddy.
I got it. Wait, the stink would be what in this situation? That Philly beats him and covers it. No,
I think the stink is that it's only -2.5.
I think everybody is going to be on the Stars.
That's
Everyone.
true.
I saw it yesterday. 98% of the money was on the Stars.
I'm still on the Stars because last time I tried to get cute with New Jersey a couple of weeks ago, we thought the same thing. We're like, why are they favored by -1 or -2? And instead of really looking at the game and looking at the pile of shit the New Jersey Generals are, we tried to read the market, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm on the Stars. I'll lay the 2.5. They are. Dude, we have them. We have New Jersey as the 8th team in our power rankings. Colby has the Stars second. I had the Stars third, and they're laying less than a field goal. Yeah, maybe that sounds too easy. That's a stink. But this time, I will dive into the stink.
There you go, Nick.
And if they win, they're in. I'm diving into that stink. I'm on the over. You, Nick, you
over.
Patty,
let me tell you what. You're wrong because I'm taking a flyer that Dakota Prukop gets the start, and with their backs up against the wall is a more powerful motivator than clinching, I think. And so I'm going to take New Jersey on the money line here. And look, I think DJ Daniel is going to give Corey Coleman a hard time this week.
I'll tell you
shut
this.
him down.
if Prukop plays, I'm buying into it, but I just can't. How do you trust that? How do you trust he's going to start the right guy?
That's true.
He hasn't been doing it all year.
I'm living on the edge.
But I can tell you that, I did kind of get crazy on the DFS side of things. Because let's just open it up. Let's just go right into DFS here. Because I went with Dakota Prukop as my guy. You know, I
play the music.
Play that funky music.
We all of us, all of us, Dakota Prukop. He's going to be MVP of the league next year. Yeah. I mean, look, they got to win to stay in the mix. It just makes a lot of sense to go with Dakota Prukop. He's undervalued. He's 8,300. So all of us did that. Man, we're fucked.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Running back. Then I went, my top price running back is Mark Thompson at 12,800. Stallions defense has given up big chunks of yardage. So I will dial into some Mark Thompson.
Play that music.
Oh man.
Oh, play the third time.
Oh my God. Oh man, this is terrible.
So guys, looking at what's kind of funny that the two worst defenses against the run in the league are the Stars and Stallions. The two teams Colby has top two in his power rankings. So, but taking Dakota Prukop, we think he's going to be a rushing quarterback. So it makes sense going up against the Stars, bad run defense. And Mark Thompson going up against the Stallions, bad run defense. It makes sense also. Maybe it makes too much sense that we're chalky as hell if we all agree with the first two picks.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see a difference
right
with
now.
our second running back. Do we all have a second running back? I actually have three running backs.
I have two.
Actually,
no, I have two. Yeah.
I have two. My second running back is Dexter Williams for the Philadelphia Stars at 4,500. All three of us have him. Oh, so this is terrible, but he's so undervalued. You have to play him.
Matt Colburn is hurt. For those that don't know, the starting running back for the Stars. And he got hurt like with the opening drive or the second drive or early in the game. Dexter Williams came in. He had 15 for 52. He caught 4 balls for 23 yards. Put up 17.5 fantasy points. Not playing the entire game, and he's only 4.5K. So, rostering him allows you to spend up elsewhere. But yes, he will be chalky as well.
Yeah, and oh man, I mean, you know what? I considered going with Madre London, and then it's almost like I thought about just going all in because I don't know that Prukop will start. I was like Prukop and London and just hope that the coaches come to their senses, but I couldn't do it. So I only have two running backs. Give us your third running back then, Nick.
CJ Marable. The guy's been getting double-digit carries. He's been in double-digit fantasy points 4 weeks in a row, 5 out of the last 6 weeks. And
you're right. We should roster him. I feel
look at his receptions last week, 5 for 46. The week before that, 6 for 52. His targets in the passing game, 6 last week's, 7 before that. And he only has 1 rushing touchdown on the year for a running back.
I just added him to the team.
All right, so far, well, Patty hasn't added him yet. Patty,
I'm not adding him. I love my team.
Thank you, jeez.
All right, Patty. See, you don't have a third running back, right?
I don't. Although I have a slot guy that I guess gets carries at running back. But he's not my top receiver. So let's rattle off our receivers.
Okay. I got Johnny Dixon. He's been on fire lately. All three of us. Where's that music? So yeah,
this is the whole show. Is this song?
How you guys doing? Yeah, here. I'll switch it up. Here we go, Johnny Dixon.
Well, you know what? I mean, look. Remember when he came back from injury? I started him when he was 3K. The next week, he was 3.6K. I wrote him again. Last week, he jumped up in price, 5.4K, and I got too cute. What did he do? He had 9 for 136 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So now at least he's priced accurately at 8K. But I had some money there because I went cheaper with quarterback. So why not go with the guy who's been crushing it?
Yeah, so I only have one other guy to give away before my. So we have the same exact
Patty
team.
C has a couple more though.
Yeah, Patty C, fire away with your next wideout.
Well, I went with the possession wideout, which is what they are going to need against a stingy Maulers defense. Trey Quinn of Michigan.
You love that dude.
Yeah, play. He's been playing well.
Trey Quinn is the Cole Beasley of the USFL.
But he's going up against Pittsburgh. That defense is going to shut them down probably, right?
He's taller than Cole Beasley. He's not a little scat. I feel like he's a legit, like,
still a slot guy,
kind of
right?
Ed McCaffrey-ish type. Maybe not that long of a neck, but look, what do you have? Almost 19 receptions in the last 4 weeks.
He's no Harvey Williams.
There's only one Harvey Williams, son of an actual giraffe. Trey Quinn's been doing all right. He's my Papali of this week, a possession receiver that I can rely on for a steady amount of points.
Okay, give us your second, because you have 2 more wide receivers, right?
This is my last receiver. This is Derek Dillon. It's just I didn't have that much money left after all that, but he's had some decent production at 5,100 to give me 8 points on average. There's value there.
So me and Nick have the same team right now. Yeah, Derek Dillon, but he's playing. Yeah, that offense. You need a kick 6 again. My final guy, Nick. If you have this guy,
my guy's only 3K.
My guy's only 2,800. So
right, thank God.
Cole Kelley, the tight end for the Michigan Panthers.
Okay.
This guy's a touchdown machine. All right, they're gonna go play action. They're gonna go play action. He's gonna have a 30-yard touchdown in this game, and that will probably be his only catch of the game. But it will be enough to get me, some solid points. Who's your guy at 3K?
Isaiah Zuber, the receiver for the Gamblers, and he got a lot more burn last year. This year he missed the first 3 weeks. He didn't register a catch until week 6. But when I was watching the game last week, he caught 5 for 30 on 6 targets. So I'm like, all right, and he looks decent out there. So I want to roll the dice with Isaiah Zuber, the receiver. I think he outduels Zigatini or Rigatoni or whatever the fuck he just said.
Yeah, Rigatoni's gonna do it big. All right, defense. Let's see if me and Nick have every position the same except for the last price wideout. I have the Michigan Panthers defense at 3,900.
I do not have them for 4,100. I'm going to go with the team that is the best. I mentioned earlier the team with the best turnover margin going up against the team that has given up the most turnovers. Memphis Showboats, baby, Showboat buddies, 4.1K.
Play that music, Cole.
There we go. Showboat buddies.
You got the Showboats too?
Yeah, we need some music for Showboat buddy music. Look,
is it like the theme of Love Boat or something?
Yeah, give us the love.
Here's the.
That's as close as we're getting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else can work. I got to work on getting some Miami Vice music going. But
I'll tell you what. I had Pittsburgh. I had Memphis, and I went with Pittsburgh last week, and that was a terrible decision because I think Pittsburgh had one fantasy point, and Memphis had around 10 or 11, which really cost me the win in DFS last week. So I am changing it up, and I'm going back to the show.
Memphis, the only defense that averages in double-digit fantasy points per week.
It ain't happening this week. They've had it so much. The Maulers. Look, I have the Panthers defense against the Maulers. They're gonna hand it to Garrett Groshek 75 times. All right, you're gonna get 34 yards out of that.
But hold on, don't you have the Maulers winning that game?
I do. Pick 6.
Could you not afford them?
No, I have every defense.
So that's an interesting play. Yeah, because the Maulers is only $100 more expensive than the Panthers, and they average more fantasy points per game.
But
okay, interesting.
But I see a defensive touchdown.
Could be the case.
I don't know that Pittsburgh does that. I don't think they give the ball away for touchdowns. I just think they can't move it, and then they punt.
right. And instead of going for it on 4th and 1 and
actually
giving the defense a short field, they punt it.
Yeah, actually, you make a good point. And then Josh Love, the Panthers have given up a ton of defensive touchdowns. I'm switching to Pittsburgh. Give me the Maulers defense. Let's go. I just fixed it right there. I'm going to be super pissed if the Panthers have 2 pick sixes. Folks, subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast because the road to the Freedom Cup continues. All right, we'll have a reaction show Sunday night or Monday loaded up for you. And once again, how great is this weekend? All of the games matter. What is the game you want to see most, Patty C?
I got to say Birmingham, Houston, just the best quality of football and most kind of entertaining players. Mark Thompson, Alex McGough, your 2 MVP candidates going at it. Sign me up.
Aguilar's got to be one of those MVP candidates. So I'm going Stars Generals is the game I want to see. Nick, what's the game you want to see most?
I mean, after this episode, Breakers Showboats. Showboat buddies. Come on.
Showboat buddies. Folks, subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast. Remember, you can also watch this on YouTube. Just go to USFL Gambling Podcast on YouTube. You'll see it there. Subscribe. And wherever you listen to podcasts at Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff, subscribe over there. Please go hop over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review if you can. If you've been listening to us all year, please. That helps us immensely. So do that. And also give us a follow on Twitter at USFL Gambling. Excited for this action. And if you follow us on Twitter, we'll be live tweeting during these games, folks. So check us out. And give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. The Showboat Brothers, or the Showboat Buddies. And I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Give me a follow. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. We also host the College Football Experience, doing 133 previews currently. So we talk college football year round there. Check us out there. And the College Baseball Experience. I got to talk about that because that's rolling right now too. As the road to Omaha continues to heat up. Check out that. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. And yes, check out everything else. All right, folks. This is the USFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.